All right, welcome back everyone to Beyond the Cinema. I'm Ethan. I'm here with my very good friend Tyler, and it's been a busy week for news, so I think we'll go ahead and just dive right in. I guess the first one we'll talk about has been a pretty big media outlet.
We're jumping in this one really late in the game as well. We're not.
I mean, only a week, but it's been a very busy week.
Very bumpy week.
Yeah. So, Spider-Man and the MCU, for now, are having a break.
They broke up.
Yep.
It was real sad.
Spider-Man's parents got divorced.
It's a messy breakup, and they're real sad.
And so, however, there are already talks of them rediscussing things, so who knows?
Yeah, and every news report we've heard so far says a different thing. So the thing that we do know is that Disney wanted more money, and Sony's like,
because they already have control of merchandising revenue.
Yeah.
So,
and now Sony's like, well, we're just not gonna put Spider-Man in the MCU, and Disney's like, well, okay.
And so right now they are taking a break from each other. However, because of the immediate fan backlash, there are rumors of talks.
And there's rumors like Tom Holland has apparently said that he's still going to be Spider-Man even if it's just a Sony film, and that there's already works on a Spider-Man 3 but Sony only. Like it's kind of all over the place, but then there's also rumors that they're going to try and just force him back in MCU. And some people are like, "Oh, well Disney will just buy Sony." And so we're all over the place on this one.
Yeah. So I think we'll just move on from there because there's not much else to talk about other than for now he's out, but there's a very good chance he'll come back.
Yep, it's real sad. It'll be, I think, as sad as it is, I'm really interested to see how it plays out. Like, if it stays this way, how they're going to write Spider-Man out of everything. Like, how they're going to do
how
that.
Sony, and I mean, the MCU is now an integral part of Spider-Man too. And so, at least the Spider-Man story. So it's just going to be difficult on both ends.
Yep, so, and I'm genuinely actually looking forward to seeing how
once
it all
they
plays
start
out.
moving forward, I think that's when, if there aren't talks happening, that's when they'll boot back up because they'll be like, "Yikes, we didn't realize how hard this would be."
We dug ourselves quite a creative hole here.
And then I'll let you take this next one.
Yeah,
because this is kind of your thing.
So Sunday morning, I woke up to a very special surprise from my good friend Todd Phillips on Instagram, with 6 little short Instagram teasers for Joker. And so all 6 of these are awesome, just quick little snippets. It's like one-shot things for Joker, but if there's like a quick flash in all of them, if you pause them all and put it together like a puzzle, it says new trailer 8/28. So we're recording on Monday right now. That's Wednesday.
26th. Yep.
So looking forward to a new Joker trailer. It's going along with its Venice or Toronto Film Festival premiere. One of the two.
It was Venice, I think.
Yeah. So the film festival premiered this week. So Joker's going to be getting its world premiere, despite not being released to the general public. But we'll be getting a sweet new trailer, and these little teaser snippets are awesome.
And it'll come out alongside It Chapter 2, which makes sense. They're both Warner Brothers projects, and they're both about scary evil clowns. Yeah.
I think of the 6 of these, like we don't want to get into too much detail because most of it's just like, oh, that's a cool shot of the Joker. Yeah. Man, him climbing into the fridge though,
creepy. Man.
Actually, that's like creepy. Yeah. I loved that.
And then you even see the door.
You see him like as if it's such a natural thing to like, oh yeah, like the fridge, like you know that time, like you know how when you get into the fridge, sometimes it doesn't close, so you have to like close it again. It's like no, nobody knows that, but that's a very natural thing. He's like, oh, it's like. It looks
really good.
Yeah, it looks just. It's one of those things where it's just weird enough that it's perfect. Mm-hmm. Like, you wouldn't think like watching a grown man climb into the refrigerator is like, wow, that's acting. But man, it looks so good.
Yeah. Next up, New Mutants, despite our previous statements, is actually alive, and they have screened it to the new Disney overlords, the new Disney executives. And it's apparently received positive feedback. So it's likely coming on its April 20th. It's April 20th, right?
April 3rd, 2020.
April 3rd, 2020. Yeah. That's what I was thinking of.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty soon.
Well, yeah, so. And it's interesting because they screened it for execs, and execs hated it, and it was going through reshoots. But the first cut they've seen since the reshoots, they're pleased
liking.
With.
So
I mean, we're not really sure what that means, because if Disney executives like it, it might be just a much more tame version of what the movie was, or maybe they just made it better. So who knows?
Maybe both.
But it means that most likely the New Mutants will be getting released in theaters.
Yes, which is kind of shocking because it didn't appear as it was.
Comeback story. It's a Cinderella story, an underdog story.
Yeah.
The New Mutants.
The New Mutants, man. And then I hate that we're still talking about this, but Disney Plus. Oh boy.
I don't think there's been a single week we've done this podcast where we haven't had something to talk about with Disney Plus.
They just keep announcing stuff. I mean, that's cool.
And until it's launched in November,
and here's the thing: is I wasn't gonna get it. I wasn't gonna get it. And then they announced The World According to Jeff Goldblum, and it's just Jeff Goldblum talking about nonsense for an hour every episode, and I was like, sold. that is such a genius idea. I could listen to that man talk about nonsense for years.
Yeah, if Disney thinks that they're somehow going to trick me into paying $12.99 for another monthly streaming service, they're absolutely right.
Yeah, exactly. They've got just enough good stuff. And so at D23, we thought D23 was gonna kind of fizzle, especially after San Diego Comic-Con.
Yep.
And honestly, it's probably been bigger than San Diego Comic-Con as far as news go for them.
Yeah, because Marvel news, it wasn't quite the Phase 4 slate, but we got 3 new shows announced. We got She-Hulk, Moon Knight, and Miss Marvel. All canon in the MCU.
And they have already confirmed that they are going to appear in movies and vice versa. Yeah. Some of the movie characters are going to appear in their shows and vice versa.
Oh man, it's so much. Like Phase 4, I think it, like, if you're considering like runtime wise of like minutes of stuff you're going to be watching, is probably going to be like double the size of Phase 3.
Oh, for sure.
It's so much. And like, I'm really excited, and I'm actually most excited about Moon Knight. I think that's incredibly awesome.
I think that's really cool too. That's one I'm most excited for. And then probably She-Hulk and then Miss Marvel, but they're all pretty cool.
But man, there's like
a lot of stuff, yeah.
If you're feeling exhausted from the movies, don't you worry. We're going to give you 10-part TV series, and we're going to give you like 8 of them.
And just keep shoving them down your throat.
Many.
And also from the Marvel slate, we got our first look at What If. We got Captain Britain, which is Peggy in this alternate, and it has pretty cool art style.
We got the Marvel Zombies as well. It's happening. I'm so happy.
It was Hawkeye fighting a zombie Cap?
I think it was Bucky. Bucky fighting zombie Cap. It was like, yes. Oh,
and then we got our first images of WandaVision, and which is
I really don't like that poster. It is an ugly poster.
Granted, it's not supposed to be a poster; it's just a keyframe.
Yeah, they're like they gave them away at the booth,
and
I just looked at that and like lost all interest I had in the show. I was like, I saw that and was like, ugh.
And then we got our first look at Falcon and the Winter Soldier.
That's fine.
And Winter and Bucky has his short hair back, which I enjoy because his hair made me hate Bucky. So
it's cool. And as well, we had a poster for Black Widow.
Yes, which looks cool. Taskmaster looks a lot cooler than we gave him credit for.
Looks good. Yeah,
a lot better.
Yeah, there's so much Marvel stuff. I'm like tired.
So I think at that point we just move on.
Woo! And I'll let you take by move on, we mean moving on to more Disney Plus and more D23.
Because that's all there is, since Disney owns everything nowadays.
Yeah, so there's not loads to talk about with Kenobi other than it's an officially announced thing. Apparently it wasn't officially announced. It was a rumored thing before.
And the announcement was just like, ask me if I'm going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again.
Ewan, are you going to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again?
Yes.
Oh, yeah!
That was the entire thing. Which is like...
So yeah, I'm just as excited about it now, but like the news isn't that different.
Yeah, it's not shocking at this point. So
we got our trailer for The Mandalorian, and we can't spend too much time talking about this because I could spend like hours talking
Yeah, it's
about
your
the
phone
trailer.
wallpaper right now.
Yeah, it is. But boy, oh boy, does it look so good.
It looks really, really good.
Because I think of all the new stuff we've gotten since Disney has helmed Lucasfilm, I loved Rogue One. I think Rogue One's the best thing we've gotten. And it's gritty, and it's like it feels like a war story just that happens to be set in the Star Wars universe.
Of Star Wars.
Yeah, exactly. And the Mandalorian is taking that exact same like Rogue One. It's
especially
very
the door shot.
Yeah,
cuts
man.
The guy in half.
Just
so good.
Like
so good.
Because one of the biggest complaints, it's a silly complaint, but everybody has been moaning at Disney for not like dismembering people. Like if you watch any of the recent Star Wars, like everybody gets like nicked and sliced with the lightsaber, but no limbs come off. They'll punch a hole in like a Praetorian guard's head, or like chuck a guy into like a blender, but they won't dismember anybody. So seeing Pedro Pascal's The Mandalorian just pull this guy through a door and chop him in half with it is like yes. Jon Favreau is saving Star Wars.
And actually, I'll let you take the next one too, since this is again very much your thing.
Okay, so there was a little secret sneak peek footage shown at D23 for The Rise of Skywalker, and it blew up the internet because everybody's like, Rey has a double-bladed red lightsaber at the end of it, and it was rumored that it was rumored it was going to be released. And then I woke up this morning and my phone pinged from the notification bell on the Star Wars YouTube channel, and I've probably watched that footage like 100,000 times since this morning. But
and
Skywalker trailer. You
dropped a breakdown of it, so we won't go too much into that one because Tyler has already broken down shot for shot.
Another video.
Yep.
It goes like super in depth into the lore,
and it's only like 8 minutes long, but I mean, I found it helpful because I'm not a huge Star Wars guy.
Yes.
And so I found it really helpful figuring out kind of where it might take us.
Because all anybody can talk about is Rey with a red lightsaber, and Rey is evil, and Rey is this, and Rey is that. And everybody is completely missing everything else that happened in that
such
trailer.
As evil C-3PO, the biggest reveal of the trailer.
I know. And everybody else is just completely forgetting everything else that happened in that trailer. So that's what that video is talking about, is everything else that happened. Because that stuff at the end is cool, but so is all the other stuff that happens. Yeah. So really, really great trailer. I one of the things I didn't get to say in my breakdown, I think like the music from this one has been my favorite of any Star Wars trailer we've ever gotten. Like it brought tears to my eyes. So it's a real good trailer, and I kind of wish it was done later in the game, because now we're gonna get another one in October, and which means more reveals and more. And I'm like, no, just wait until the movie. But it looks really, really good.
So now brings us around to our favorite segment here on the show. Top 3 clickbait articles of the week you have to hear to believe. And we've got some good ones this week. These are 3 of my favorites, honestly. I really like these ones.
Yeah, this is
because they're all absolutely real, but I think even all 3 of them are like just complete like nonsense. Like they're just basically lying.
Other than one of them, but like most of these things that we put on here are actually what you could consider real news. But because of how they named the like article, it just makes it completely nonsensical.
But I think these 3 are just completely misleading and not even real news. Exactly. That's what makes me laugh about these 3, because I don't think there's really any factual statement behind any of these 3.
So, you get right into it.
Do you want to start off?
Yeah.
Okay.
Breaking news. Marvel is canceling Star Wars. I just want that one to sit in a little bit. Like, to think about what was just said. Marvel is canceling Star Wars. This is a real article.
Do you want to explain what you meant by it?
You click on the article, they bait your click, and then you come to discover and find out that Marvel is finishing a Star Wars comic book line, and like finishing that and moving on to something else. So they're canceling,
just helping the Star Wars with the comic
they're
book
canceling
line.
A Star Wars comic book. And
they're not even canceling it. They're just helping.
Yeah, they're just finishing it. And then, like, there's still going to be other Star Wars comics coming out. Just this one happened to stop. And it's like, breaking news, Marvel just canceled Star Wars.
Which, like, they have the authority to do.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Next up. Was Galactus Thanos' insurance policy? I'm just gonna grab my aluminum foil and just wrap it around my head real fast, and then screech at my TV. So stupid. The answer is they don't know. And what they're trying to say, if you read the article, is they're trying to say, was Thanos considering using Galactus, who eats worlds, as kind of his plan B in case his plan didn't work? But the problem with this logic is that Thanos didn't even want to destroy all of the population of life on Earth, in the universe, until the last 10 minutes of Endgame.
Well, and as well, I think the other thing that kind of hurts this theory is the fact that I don't even think the Sony the Fox buyout was not a thing before they wrote Infinity War and Endgame.
It was a thing before they wrote Endgame, but not before Infinity War.
Yeah, and so there's no way it was Thanos' backup plan because that wasn't in the movie rights when they
right. And so it's literally just some fun headcanon someone came up with and then wanted to write an entire article. Only the best news. And then this one's probably my favorite, just because the title is so misleading and so funny. Eva Longoria to direct Cheetos the movie, quote unquote, Flamin' Hot is the title, for Fox Searchlight and Franklin Entertainment. And that makes it sound like it's going to be an Emoji Movie level bad, where it's literally a movie about Chester the cheetah or about living Cheetos or something like that. Flamin' Hot
movie.
And it's not. It's actually a biography. The movie is about the inventor of Flamin' Hot Cheetos because he apparently has a pretty inspirational story where he was really poor and had to drop out of high school and was a janitor at Frito-Lay's and managed to work his way all the way up to the vice president position, and he invented Flamin' Hot Cheetos. Which actually
sounds like a really great film. I don't know why they can't say biopic about the man who... Instead
inventor.
It's the director who's directing the Cheetos movie.
And so I'm just going to... This is probably the first time I'm going to do it, but I'm going to go ahead and say what news website put this out because they deserve to have hate for slandering this poor man's name with Cheetos the movie. Deadline Hollywood, watch it. So with that, I think we'll wrap this up. And I think we'll go ahead and move into our comparison and contrast between 1990s It.
We're going to be talking about Pennywise the Dancing Clown.
And yes, and all his iterations and everything that came. And this one might be a pretty long one, just because there's a lot to unpack. The movie is long. The 1991 is very, very long. And so we're going to be talking about that up next, just in preparation for It Chapter 2, because that's one of both of our most anticipated movies this year. We're super excited. So, and that's coming out next week. Is it next week now?
Next weekend.
The end of next weekend.
So close.
So we're going to be talking about that. All right, let's dive right in.
We, in preparation for It Chapter 2, thought it to be a good idea to watch the 1990 TV miniseries for Stephen King's It. Because neither of us have actually sat through the whole thing. We've seen bits and pieces, but we thought it was a good idea.
I've read the book. I've seen the movie a million times. The 2017 one a million times. And yeah, we figured it would be a good idea to finally catch up.
It wasn't.
Okay, listen. We don't want to spread any hate out there because we know the movie has a following and people who really love it. But so don't get offended by this, but we didn't like it very much at all.
So
first of all, Adult Bill has the most punchable face I've ever seen in my life. I seriously just wanted to just slam that guy in the face with my fist. His stupid ponytail, man. It was the ponytail and the weird, constant, this face. He just had resting douche face all the time. It was so annoying.
So I think the easiest way I can describe this movie to anybody who is thinking about watching it is if you've ever seen the 1990s Goosebumps television show. It's like a 3-hour and 10-minute episode of Goosebumps, but it's not a good one. It's like that one that is rerunning on TV and it's the lame episode and you're just like, oh, I don't want to watch that. But...
And every shot in this movie is so long. Like, they're honestly, if you cut out, okay, I'm going to say, if you had a pie chart and you broke down the chunks of this movie and what makes up the screen time, a tiny, tiny sliver would be Tim Curry's Pennywise. Like, the tiniest, almost invisible sliver. And
he had as much screen time as Jared Leto's Joker.
Less. He for sure had less. And, like, he genuinely might have had less. In a 3-hour movie, he had maybe, like, 3 minutes of screen time total. And so there's that tiny sliver. And then, I'm going to say, like, another solid, like, 49% of that is going to be shots of people walking or doing menial things like reading. And I'm not talking like they're talking during it. It is them walking through the sewers with flashlights for like 5 minutes. Because we watched the entire thing. However, and we played anytime they started talking. However, I would seriously, as soon as they started walking, I would seriously just hit the fast forward button. And we would fast forward for up to 6 minutes at a time.
Yeah.
There are the longest shots in this movie. And then another 50% of this movie is stuff you've already seen earlier in the movie in a flashback.
So after watching this, I genuinely do not understand why this movie has a following. Like, it has to be just fans of the book because...
But I love the book.
Because this is around the time of like the big slasher movie push, and like this is I don't know about you, but like Tim Curry's Pennywise, like when let's say you have some like fan artist who puts all the horror icons on like one drawing, you have like Jason Voorhees, Michael Myers, Freddy Krueger, and Pennywise, right. Tim Curry's Pennywise. They are not even on the same level. I don't know how anybody like even. For its time, thought this movie was remotely good and or scary. It's
not good.
I
mean, and maybe part of the reason is that we got babied by the 2017 one, and how intense and how great that one is. And so like, but even like the Georgie scene, like it's barely comprehensible dialogue. Like he goes, "Hiya, Georgie," and then all of a sudden Georgie is like,
"Aren't you gonna say
hello?" And Georgie goes like that, and then
no,
he goes,
I won't.
Oh,
come on, Bucko.
and then Georgie asks the stupidest question on the planet. When Pennywise offers him a balloon, he goes, "Do they float like that one that's floating right next to you?
Do you want a balloon? I have all colors." Do they float?
And it's like,
1 second. I'm looking up the dictionary definition of balloon and seeing what it says.
But like, he's just like, "No, I have these regular ones that I blew up with my mouth. Like, I'm a clown that lives in the sewers. Do you think I can afford helium?"
Alright, here we go. So the definition of a balloon: a large, brightly colored rubber sack filled with hot air or gas to make it rise in the air. Do they float?
And not to mention, in the scene, Pennywise is holding a balloon that's floating right next to him.
Yeah.
And then he goes, "Oh, yes. Oh, they float, Georgie."
Float, Georgie. And then before Georgie even sticks his arm in the thing, and he goes, "And when you come down here with me, you'll float too." And like Georgie isn't even sticking his arm down.
Yeah,
like,
and then Georgie sticks his arm down, and he's like, "Well, now that you're shouting it."
It's like, now that you're shouting, when I pull you down into this drain so you can come down here with me, and then Georgie's okay. Like,
well, I mean, I'm not seeing a lot of reasons not to at this point. And then he grabs it, and there's a really popular thing that the director of this series decided to do, which is not show Pennywise actually come for anyone or interact with anyone.
Or do absolutely anything for
But instead, they show him go, "Ah," and then have sharp teeth. And then it has the camera zoom in on either Pennywise or on the child, insinuating he's running for them. And it does that trick like maybe 7 times.
Well,
and... Not to mention, one thing that 2017's It did was give a basis and a reasoning as to why Pennywise keeps saying, you'll float too, and all that stuff. And it's that after he kills the kids, to store them for hibernation, he makes them float above his little sky pillar thing.
Yeah.
And in this one, no explanation. He just says that a bunch of times. He just keeps saying, you'll float too.
Yeah, and the story is pretty like... Yeah, It's not because one of the things, like, the back of my head says, well, but it's a 1990 TV movie. And I understand that. But, like, if you go back to, like, for example, like, Poltergeist, that is, like, way more dated than this is. And Poltergeist still stands
It's way
now.
scarier, yeah.
But this movie just is, even for its time, is just
and for
so
a TV movie,
unfrightening and unentertaining. And the story... Like, the way it tells the story of the Losers Club is just painful because they tell it by, like, they're living through the adult portion of it, and then they use flashbacks.
And it's memories and
it's
flashbacks.
Memories, remembering, which is, I guess, on paper is a good idea. But then, like, I broke it down afterwards, and if you split up the two, the entire adult Losers Club story in the 1990 It is, like, they get the phone call, they have dinner together in Derry, they stay at a hotel, and then they go into the sewer and kill Pennywise. That's the entire plot.
Yeah.
And then,
it's
like,
a 4-step program.
and then that is just filled with lots of flashbacks to fill up time.
And the worst part is half the flashbacks are stuff we already saw.
Yeah.
Like, it's because the people's stories are intertwined.
Double flashbacks.
Because it's the Losers Club and their stories are intertwined. They feel like they have to show us stuff twice, but from a slightly different perspective, but then they still use the same shots and the same footage. And it's like, what's the point of this? Although, there is one thing that we get from this one that I will forever be grateful for. And it is when Bill is staying in the hotel.
Yes.
And all of a sudden, Beverly comes in.
Ben, yeah.
And, it's Ben. It's Ben.
Yeah.
Ben is staying in the hotel. And Beverly comes in to give him a smooch. Because she realizes that it was him who wrote the poem. And they start making out hard. And all of a sudden, Ben looks up in the mirror as they're making out. And he notices that all of a sudden, she's wearing bright orange, like, floods of pants.
Yep.
Like these enormous fabric pants. And he's like, something's not right there. And then he looks up and he notices he has a bunch of clown makeup smeared all over his face, including on his lips. And they looks further up, and all of a sudden she has a big fluffy red wig,
and it's Pennywise.
And then he looks at her, and all of a sudden it's Pennywise, and he goes, "Kiss me, fat boy!" And then he runs out of the room screaming, and Pennywise just goes. He doesn't even.
I got him so good.
He doesn't even laugh for a solid 10 seconds. He's just like.
Yeah. I think that, like, what this movie did is it provided us with the opportunity to have a vastly superior remake, because it's come to make me appreciate the 2017 version of It so much more, because this movie, like, Pennywise, all he does is, like, he doesn't even scare people. He more just, like, does a kooky thing, and then he's like, I got him so good! Oh, yeah!
Like at one point, his entire scare is annoying someone who's on the phone.
Yeah!
He's on the phone talking, and the entire time Pennywise is sitting up on a banister spinning one of those joke things.
Yeah,
and he's all like, "Do you have a Richard Deere in a can?" I forget the name he says. Yeah. But do you have this person in a can? Well, you do. Well, you better let him out. And they spin around, and the guy's like, "I'm on the phone."
Yeah, I know. It's just like, and it's just,
and then all of a sudden, ketchup balloons explode on people, and it's supposed to be blood. And that's another thing that made me appreciate Chapter 1 so much. 2017's is that, that movie actually kind of made balloons scary. I mean. It was that they used one singular color and one singular shade. They were all the same. They were all these deep blood red balloons. And so whenever you saw that, immediately that triggers that sort of Pennywise in your
exactly.
head.
Like,
versus this Pennywise is just like balloons of all colors, and it's in
the It remake in 2017, you see the red balloon and you start to sweat because you know what's gonna happen,
what's coming.
You know what's
it's a
coming.
build-up thing.
Like you see it in the library with Ben, you see it in the sewer with Patrick, like, and you see that balloon and you're just like, oh no. And it just, so we watched these back to back, and I think one of the things that really is a beneficial thing is it made me appreciate It Chapter 1 a lot more. And there have been early reactions from It Chapter 2. The review embargo hasn't been lifted yet. But there's
Twitter reactions.
And it's kind of a mixed bag right now. But
for the most part, positive, I'd say. For the most part,
positive.
Pretty much every review had mostly positive things to say. They just were basically saying it's not quite as good as the first one.
But that's the thing is, I feel like after watching the 1990 I'm going to go in and sit down and just be like, man, this is so much good better, because I just watched the real bad one. And so, like, I'm going to love this one so much more because the original's garbage.
Also, I'm so excited to see Spider Pennywise.
Yeah.
Just fully realize, because this Spider Pennywise... Okay, so if you don't know, spoilers, if you don't know... the closest thing that humans can see to its true form, to Pennywise's true form, is basically this enormous, creepy spider. And with like these huge claws and covered in these bristles, and then its belly and its mouth.
It's got the deadlights.
Well, actually, it's not the belly in the book. I think it's its abdomen, almost like its abdomen is like full of eggs, sorta. Is full of the deadlights. And that can like paralyze people, kill people, whatever, if they look directly into them. But that's the closest thing people can see to its true form. And in the book, it's a pretty creepy scene when they have to fight it. In the TV short film, it's real bad.
Well,
it's got these little T-Rex arms with like little thumbs and everything. And then it's this big spider crab. And it's got these weird like LED plates for its belly.
Well, so in the book, you'll have to tell me because I don't know. Please tell me that in the book they don't actually defeat Pennywise with battery acid and little pieces of silver with a slingshot.
It's battery acid, you slime. Okay, so just pick up where like on how.
Yeah, so like just that. How did they defeat Pennywise in the book?
So, I mean, technically they defeat him through the ritual of Chud, which is basically where they summon the spirit turtle that's Pennywise's equal and all that stuff. And I know you know about the gist of that. But, and I do get a vibe that's where Chapter 2 is kind of headed. Because a lot of reviews are saying it's very bizarre.
Sweet.
Yeah, and so, but however, it is also them. It basically gives them the power to weaken Pennywise enough where they can physically kill him. And so that's when they kind of just beat the crap out of the spider. I mean, we do get a taste of that in the 1991. In all fairness, they push it over and then start kicking it.
They like rip his heart out, don't they? Or something like that.
And they're all like, ah.
Well, and they all like hold it up to just like so excited that they just like ripped his heart out.
Like a bunch of like just a bunch of cavemen, like, ooh, ooh, ooh.
Actually, I think I know why, like, the original is suddenly less frightening. So the thing is, like, it uses the N-word 3 times, and they, like, rip the heart out. So they had, like, I'm sure they had certain things that they could and couldn't do. Like, same way how in a PG-13 movie you can only use so many, like, swear words before it's rated R. They're probably like, okay, we can only do so much. So we gotta prioritize having Pennywise being frightening or ripping out a giant spider heart and using the N-word 3 times. And they prioritize this one. And that's why this movie is completely unfrightening.
And so, but basically, to answer your question, the slingshot is a thing in the book. Good lord. But, was that your knee? Oh, no, I see. Okay. But it is a thing. However, it's more like in Chapter 1 where you know, it's not until they're not scared of him that, like the bolt gun. When he puts the bolt gun to Pennywise's head and pulls the trigger, and even though it's not loaded, it still blows a hole in his head because it's more about what it represents, that he basically got shot because he's not afraid of him anymore. Yeah. And so, and like earlier in the movie, in chapter 1, Beverly stabs him through the eye with a stake, but they're still scared of him. So he turns around and uses it to his advantage and suddenly disfigures his face more to make him more scary, and then uses that same thing as a weapon on Ben. And so, and slashes Ben open with it. And so it's that same idea in the book where the slingshot is more like, it doesn't matter what really they're hitting him with or whatever. What matters, I don't know why it was so special that they had silver for it in the 1991. But it's more like they're hitting him because they're not afraid of him anymore, and so that's what's hurting him.
Yeah, and see, that's, I think, what was great about it chapter 1 is that they weren't afraid of him, so then they just, like, gangbanged him. They just, like, beat him up like he was gutter trash. It's like, with a chain and with a baseball bat and a lead pipe, just beat the crap out of this guy.
And then kicked him down a well.
Yeah.
Called it good, yeah.
Just kicked him to the curb, like.
Yeah, and...
I hope we just get to see that again.
Oh,
like,
just them shoving
scared.
the spider over.
Like, yeah, it's like we're not scared of you anymore. So instead of just like shooting you with this little slingshot, I'm gonna hit
here's
you
our
with
Glock.
Yeah, it's like with a Glock, I'm gonna hit you with a chair. Like
yeah, just like WWE wrestling style on a giant spider.
Oh yeah.
But I am really excited to see Spider Pennywise, just because if any member of this franchise is gonna get right so far, it's gonna be chapter 2. Because I mean they're gonna go all out with it. You know what I mean? I'm really excited to see the design. I'm really excited to see how it's used, because it is. It if you don't know it, the giant spider, and we might have been over this already. We had to cut part of it because we had technical difficulty. But the giant spider is Pennywise. We did. We got the dead lights. So yeah, I'm really excited. I just think that there's a lot of really creepy ways to go about this, because I mean it's a giant demon clown spider with like a throbbing abdomen of glowy lights.
I hope we get multiple like iterations of it as well, like multiple forms of final Pennywise, because like in that final battle with the Losers Club, he isn't just like he isn't just like the clown. He's the clown, he's the painting, he's a mummy, he's the leper, he changes like in the middle of it. He's the dad. I would love to see just like multiple just messed up creatures that are just like
I think it would be cool if we did something similar, how like he kept changing his face mostly and the body was still Pennywise, how since it's a spider, how like if each of the legs suddenly became something, and like stuff like that. I'm just excited. I think there's a lot of really clever routes that can go with it. And another thing I think we didn't really talk about specifically is we did far prefer Bill Skarsgård Pennywise.
Absolutely.
That specific iteration over Tim Curry's. And I know you really didn't like Tim Curry's because you thought he was basically just a circus clown.
No, that's all he is. He's just a clown.
I guess see the appeal, but it's not for me. And I far preferred Bill Skarsgård's terrifying and like captivating performance.
Yeah, well, because
Pennywise, you can't look away when he's on screen. Yeah. You can't look away. Well, seriously.
And I remember when we first saw our first revealed photo of the new Pennywise, I was like, no kid would ever approach that clown. That clown is dead terrifying when you look at him.
Yeah.
But then the beginning scene when he's in the gutter, he totally plays off like the
sells it.
Yeah, he sells it.
And
he's
then even
good.
The footage we're getting of chapter 2 where the little girl is down beneath the thing and he's crying and she's like, why are you crying? And he's like, because no one wants to play anymore. Yeah, and then he convinces her to play with him, and all of a sudden he just teeps out and grabs her.
I think what we finally I think the final the
conclusion
we can come to is that we're grateful that the 1990 It exists, so that we were able to receive
build a
vastly superior remake later.
1990's It walks so It chapter 1 and 2 can run.
There's this wonderful quote from Doctor Who where it says like, good men are forged in fire, 'tis the privilege of lesser men to light the flame. And that is exactly what It 1990 is it's the lesser man to light the flame.
And so I think we're grateful for what it did, but otherwise we didn't personally enjoy it. If you did, then good on you.
And we're really, really looking forward to talking more about It Chapter 2
and next week's video.
We're so excited.
And then we're also going to be going to our Comic-Con, which is the third biggest Comic-Con in New York. But it's the third biggest Comic-Con. It's Salt
So we'll
Lakes.
be giving coverage from that. We'll be giving you guys
I'm
a video.
thinking we even kind of show what we're bringing there because we're both going in cosplay.
So we'll definitely be giving a Comic-Con video. We're going to be doing a trailer breakdown and reaction for Joker this week because the trailer definitely drops on Wednesday. And yeah, good stuff coming up this week.
And then we'll be reviewing, of course, It Chapter 2. So next week's going to be just as big as this one, if not bigger.
So make sure to leave a like, comment, subscribe,
turn on your notification bell. If you have any ideas for new segments, and if you find any funny clickbait articles, whatever, we want to see them all. So yeah,
thank you so much for watching.
Thank you for going with us beyond the cinema. I thought that one looked smoother anyways.
I did too.